And now, it's BoomerLife, lifestyle discussion designed to make your life more engaging, meaningful, and complete. Celebrating the baby boomer generation, this is BoomerLife on CIL 650.
Our house is a very, very, very fine house.
And welcome to BoomerLife on CL 650. I'm Joanne Sutton. Thank you for joining us today. So on today's show, we're going to be speaking with our friends and experts from HomeCareAssistance. This is a business founded by Carolina and Jay Arosa with a vision to change the way that the world ages. Caring individuals dedicated to a holistic approach to home care, an approach to care that focuses on areas like nutrition, physical exercise, mental stimulation, and social interaction. They really pay a lot of attention to look at the big picture. So on the show today, we're going to be talking about a very important topic, an area of care that sometimes we just don't talk about enough. It's not always an easy topic, but it's a necessary topic, and you need to know it's okay to talk about it. And that would be palliative care. Today, we've lined up an expert panel to help start the conversation about palliative care. So in studio with us today, we'll be meeting Whitney McMillan, who's a case manager from HomeCareAssistance, along with Dr. Paul Sugar and Dr. Marilyn Kiriasis. Now, Marilyn and Paul co-founded the Paul Sugar Palliative Support Foundation and the Palliative Support Center. Their vision was to have a place for people to go where they could feel safe and feel comfortable and be able to discuss all their needs, their fears, their hopes, and all of their vulnerabilities. A place where individuals could meet others in similar situations and give each other support. Share their thoughts, their dreams, their information, and their experiences. Dr. Sugar and Dr. Kiriasis will join us shortly. So right now, it's our pleasure to have with us in the studio, Whitney McMillan, MSW Case Manager, HomeCareAssistance. Thanks for being here today.
It's my pleasure. This is great.
So, Whitney, I understand you have a master's degree in social work and a history with 20 years of diverse social work experience. Whitney has also worked as a case manager for the North Shore Disability Resource Centre, the Ministry of Children and Families, and for Vancouver Coastal Health in both the palliative and long-term care units. Did I get it all?
It's a lot.
Is there anything you haven't done?
Oh, yes. Oh, of course. There's lots more to do.
So let's start off today's show by telling us, Whitney, if you can, how did you get into this home care industry? What drove you here?
My main passion is meeting people where they're at. And very often in our healthcare system, more and more people are not necessarily having this space, the opportunity to be in hospitals for their direct care, but rather being in their homes. And so the community-based care, the focus on providing care to people where they're at, physically in their homes. There's lots of different, medical terminology around it about aging in place, etc. And really it's about providing services that people are wanting when and where they're wanting them. And having worked in some of these systems you just listed, is very often there are some gaps in the service. And a level of service is provided to a point. What I was witnessing was a decline in the quantity of those services. Not the quality, but the quantity. And so there were many people that I was serving that did not necessarily have the full capacity of the services that they wanted and needed. And this is where, as a company providing home care in the homes, in the communities, we're able to fill that. We're able to have a conversation with clients and their families exactly about what they're wanting and needing. We do an in-home assessment or an in-hospital assessment. We come and meet them in person. We talk specifically about what their care needs are, what their routines are, what their caregiver preferences are, and we develop a customized care plan. And as a case manager, that's my role, is to navigate that process with the families.
It sounds like a really natural place for you to be, especially with the extensive background that you have. Yeah. When did you meet? How did you meet Carolina and Jay?
It was they were in a search for someone in this capacity, and when we got to meeting, you could feel the click.
There was a connection.
The principles, the values that they speak to the company. Meeting them in person, obviously, is really brings it down to earth, and having great conversations. So really getting a sense of, much as we are today, about some of the topics around our healthcare that really need to be explored. They were brought to the surface and be able to move us as a society forward to have better care for all of us and in a respectful and dignified way.
So when I first met Caroline and Jay, who founded HomeCareAssistance, I was so impressed by the depths they went to find the right people to work with them.
Yes.
An extensive search of your background and your experience, and they basically handpicked every single employee with the company.
Yes.
So I'll pass on that compliment to you.
Well, it puts an honor to me to have that, to be part of that, but also in terms of being part of such a solid team. It really, as someone who's out in the field, it's great to know you have a solid team, both in the office and in the front line as our caregivers, and that the partnerships we have with other organizations are built on that type of the principles of and values that we want to reflect.
Filters all the way down.
Absolutely.
And all the way up to the top.
Absolutely. So
tell us a little bit more about HomeCareAssistance and the services that they provide.
Absolutely. So I'm happy to share that with regard to our services, that we are a high quality, non-medical, in-home or where you're at home care service.
And we'll define home as we go through.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Absolutely. Because one person's idea of home is where they define it. So that might very well be a house, an apartment, et cetera, where they're living independently on their own. It could be while they're still living with family and friends, et cetera, and yet need the additional support. They could be in a care facility. Many of our clients are in care facilities, and we attend to them there. We have many clients, including right now, I've got 3 clients that are in hospital, and our caregivers are going to the hospital and being with them throughout the day, providing the care that would have been in their previous location, but is now in that setting. We move with the client.
And we also deem care as support in whatever broad perspective that can be. So this is something that is provided by HomeCareAssistance.
That's it. And so as a home care agency organization, we provide personal care. So the direct care of bathing, dressing, toileting, grooming, etc. We also provide things like meal preparation and grocery shopping, so the nutrition component. We provide light housekeeping so that the home is maintained safely, hygiene, etc., and to a certain standard so that a person feels that dignity in their own home as well. Some of the principles that we set us to that next bar.
Well, I was just going to say there are other services we could call to provide support services. So what sets you apart from...
Exactly. So that's sort of like, I would consider like the baseline. Though it sets us up to that next bar is we have specialized services. Some of the key approaches that we take include, for many of our clients who have memory issues, we focus on what we call the cognitive therapeutics method. And it's a patented program that's specific to enhancing people's memory, but also looks at all five sections of the brain. And so it's actually meant to holistically enhance the mind.
It's a little more than doing a crossword puzzle.
It is. They are valuable, and there's a piece of that in there, but we apply sort of a broader range of tools, and that helps to advance the mind. In terms of...
we also have something called the balanced care method.
Absolutely. That's where I was going to go next.
Okay.
So the balanced care method is... a holistic approach to the quality of a person's life. So with our clients, we don't just we go beyond that personal care component and look at holistically, how is this person in terms of their physical activity? How are they in terms of mental stimulation, which could be our cognitive therapeutics method. It may not be. It may be some other things. Social interaction. And so that stimulation of being belonging, that sense of belonging we all thrive and long for.
It's incredibly important.
It's seriously important. And of course, we look at feeling purposeful. And this is where I think our conversation around palliative care leads into as well. So the idea of looking at talking and planning with a person, what are these things in your life that are really valuable, really something that maybe you've been missing in life recently, or something that you would like to bring in that would stimulate you, inspire you more. We look at that. So the caregivers and myself would work together with the client and family to identify, are there hobbies that they want to do? Are there volunteer roles they want to do? Are there exercise routines that they'd like to learn to do Tai Chi suddenly? Perfect. I've wanted been doing it for a long time. It's like, well, let's figure out how we can make that happen.
It's one of the things that makes me value this company, HomeCareAssistance, is that when you get a client, so to speak, you really do look at the big picture.
Yes.
So let's incorporate now, how does palliative care fit into the HomeCareAssistance program?
So palliative care is one of the areas that we specialize in, and we do so with a very a deep understanding of the unique needs of someone who's going through this journey. And when I say someone, I am holistically considering the individual who is going through this, as well as their loved ones. And again, loved ones could be defined as their family, the immediate family, et cetera, but it could be their neighbors, their friends, their community. So our goal is to ensure that we fully understand and respect the wishes of the client early on in the journey. So as soon as we get to know that person and they're at that palliative stage, we start to have these conversations around how can we best enhance the person's quality of life in the time frame that we're looking at. And there's very often a matter of urgency for many people. They're wanting to accomplish certain things, get things done, feel a certain degree of fulfillment, have some closure on situations. And so that's something that we can focus on. We do so focusing as well on comfort and a sense of dignity. So we're not just there at the end of life, we're there throughout that illness process.
You also would focus a lot of time on continuity and consistency of care, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. And that speaks to a number of different factors. But one of the things that's extremely important to us is that we have both a case manager who's consistently with the family in terms of building a relationship. This is always with our clients, we focus on building trust. In this particular time, because of the level of potential vulnerability for many of our clients, the idea of having a case manager that they get to know and trust is vital to being able to communicate what their needs are. We often have some of the most honest conversations with clients, sometimes more so than with their families, because we are at this very precious time in their life. We are objective, we are professional, but we also have big hearts and are greatly compassionate. And we are able to cut through some of the other things and be there as a listening ear, as a planning person. So we're able to strategize and have a big heart simultaneously. We then focus on having caregivers who similarly come and start working with them and continue through that journey. Our caregivers, again, have very huge hearts. This caring that we have through our company is huge. And so we have, instead of having, as can happen in some situations, a revolving door of different caregivers. Our caregivers, we match carefully with the clients based on their preferences and their care needs. And the training, we can talk about that as well. And then at the same point in time, we then introduce them. And as that bond grows, there's a greater and greater reliance.
You take a great amount of time to ensure that it's a good fit.
Exactly. There's a matching process, right? Yeah. And that is a key component, especially at, as I said, such a vulnerable time.
Mm-hmm. And I think consistency is essential as well.
That's it. Because then the trust is there. It's not blindsided with, oh, that person's departed now, and now I've got someone new I need to get to know and gets to know me. So that's a key piece.
It's wonderful. We've got so many things to talk about here.
Absolutely.
You are listening to BoomerLife on CL 650. I'm Joanne Sutton, joined in studio right now with our case manager from HomeCareAssistance, Whitney McMillan. We're going to continue this conversation, but if you have any questions about today's show or the services provided, support and programs through HomeCareAssistance, please visit their website, HomeCareAssistanceVancouver.ca. This company takes a holistic approach to home care, making certain that all of your needs are considered. They always look at the big picture. We're going to approach the topic of palliative care. That's next. Stay with us on BoomerLife on CL 650.
Celebrating the baby boomer lifestyle. This is BoomerLife on CL 650.